Remakes, they're everywhere nowadays in the gaming space. It's the newest trend to chase ever since the Resident Evil 2 remake was a commercial success. Now, every game company wants a piece of that pie, releasing remakes of everything from The Last of Us Part 1 and 2 to the newly released Silent Hill 2 remake. We even had infamous companies dig up old IPs they own to try and profit from the success of this remake trend gaming is going through, which leads over to Dead Space. Now, before I continue yapping, I know the attention span of everyone is cooked. So, here's some Dead Space gameplay to entertain you guys whilst I continue my intro. Dead Space was, or still is, a survival horror franchise inspired by the OG Resident Evil 4 and is EA's crack at survival horror. The remake of Dead Space is in my mind one of the more faithful remakes in recent times and set the bar for how remakes should be done, by keeping everything that made the original game tick, whilst also adding small improvements here and there. Some improvements being that Isaac now talks, that the Ishimura is one continuous space you traverse through without typical loading screens, and the unique upgrades you can apply to your tools by using the bench, one of the main ways with which you increase your power level, so to speak. The other being the store, where you buy supplies and those sweet suit upgrades. Now, what if you decided to ignore that part of the gameplay loop and still try to beat the game without it? Can you beat Dead Space without capitalism? This is what I set out to do in this challenge run, and to spice things up a little, I'll be playing on impossible difficulty because, well, why not? Now, let's briefly lay out the rules that'll apply to this run whilst we get to the Ishimura. Rule number 1. No interacting with the shop, meaning I won't be able to buy anything and won't be able to use the storage function. This is what pained me the most, to be honest. Rule number 2. No interacting with the bench, meaning I'll be stuck with the base level tools, suit HP, stasis, kinesis, oxygen, etc. That's it, really. Oh, and some extra stuff worth mentioning, I've beaten the game 3 times before, meaning I'm somewhat familiar with it, and I won't show every single enemy encounter or me backtracking or looting for sake of brevity. Anyways, hopefully we'll have landed safely on the Ishimura by the time I'm done yapping. After Chen almost ruined the Kellyan with his parking skills, we finally take control of Isaac, and follow our group into the flight lounge as usual. Isaac thinks about getting a snack, but Hammond then orders him to check out the security console, so we go and do so.
No duty roster, no power to the elevator.
That security console's still working. Isaac, get a damage report. I'm done playing around.
Something on the floor here. Is that?
Isaac, I need that damage report.
Ignoring the blood on the floor, we activate the terminal and run a diagnostics check on the ship.
Oh god, that smell.
To no one's surprise, everything's a mess, and to add insult to injury, we also trigger the quarantine protocol. Great.
Half the Ishimura's in the red. Engines, hull, the trams.
Could do that kind of damage to a planet cracker.
Hazardous anomaly detected. Quarantine activated.
Another malfunction?
No. The quarantine systems are all fine.
Oh, wait. Do you hear that?
Yeah, I hear it.
Chen then finds out what was producing the smell from the vents, and promptly gets backstabbed by a slasher. Ouch.
Why is everyone stabbing me in the back?
Kendra and Hammond run away deeper into the ship, whilst Isaac just casually walks past the slashers. The elevator saves us, and afterwards we get to our first weapon, the plasma cutter. This will be one of the 3 weapons I'll be using in this run, due to it being decent against almost every necromorph type, and also because I'm stuck with it, since I can't put it away in the store. We open the door and kill our first of many slashers, get to the tram control room, and get our new orders to repair the tram system. The first chapter is pretty much the same in all Dead Space runs, so we'll try and go through it as quickly as I can. I first go to the tram tunnels to get the stasis module, which will come in handy during this playthrough, even though I can't upgrade it. We then stasis the door, do some looting whilst Marker messes with the lighting, and get to the tram repair room, the first larger enemy encounter in this game. Isaac presses some buttons, uses stasis on the machinery, and then deals with every single slasher that dares come near him. The next wave of enemies gets frozen and pummeled to death. And after some fighting, we finish our objective in this room. Afterwards, we backtrack to the tram control room to move on to our next objective. The maintenance bay is where the game teaches you to use the environment being made from explosive barrels in this case. So, we use them to blow up everything that comes near us.
Another one. Another one. Another one.
We unlock the maintenance room and, on our way to it, get surprise attacked in the dark. Cheeky, not gonna lie.
Surprise, motherfucker!
Another one. Another one.
Anyways, we then enter the room to get the data board, grab it, ignore the bench that I normally use in every single run, and return to the tram control room.
Stay here much longer. Hearing a lot of movement.
Hold on, I got the data board. I'm coming back to tram control now.
Arriving here, we put in the new data board and call the tram. Hammond and Kendra take it to the bridge, and we get ordered by Hammond to return to the Kellyan. So we do that, since, you know, Johnston is still there. So we backtrack to the Kellyan. Once we're on the runway to the Kellyan, we see her wave at us. Neat little detail, huh? Anyways, we step inside, talk to Johnson about the crazy situation we're in, and tell her to show us a damage report. We look at said damage report, Johnson somehow gets her hands on a pulse rifle, and a screen then pops up, where we see Leapers attacking our ship's core. So, we try to leave the Kellion, but get rudely interrupted by a slasher. It really doesn't matter though, since the ship then immediately blows up, killing both the slasher and Johnston. The explosion thankfully pushes Issac outside of the Kellion, and we then take care of the culprits that destroyed the ship's core. Afterwards, Issac informs Hammond and Kendra, and they're like, "No, I'm not losing two good people for nothing. Blah blah blah. Fight the captain's rig." Before getting ambushed by a now necromorphed Chen. Is that how you say it? Necromorph? A necromorph Chen? Whatever. So, we make our way to the medical sector, look at the store that I'm sadly not allowed to use, and leave some supplies behind for later, before moving on. On our way there, we find the Kinesis module, which will be a very handy addition to our arsenal, since it's still allowed according to my rules. This marks the end of our first chapter. Starting off chapter 2, we move some boxes around with Kinesis and enter the tram waiting room, where we find a dying security officer.
Station now accessible.
After staying by her in her final moments, here's where we find the second weapon of the game, the pulse rifle. But considering we have a limited inventory, and the fact that we can't upgrade our gear, nor store it inside the store, we simply leave it there, since I've already made up my mind on what weapons I will be picking up this run. Moving on, we get to the barricade section, where we get to build an improvised explosive device to blow it up and access the morgue.
Have you heard from Daniel? We were attacked. She ran the other way.
No, nothing. Medical's a slaughterhouse. They barricaded access to the morgue.
The morgue?
Yeah.
Maybe it was to keep something in.
After yapping a bit with Hammond, we then enter the imaging diagnostics wing first, where we see a person casually killing himself in front of us. He probably was forced to listen to the Talk to a podcast on repeat. That would make any person want to kill himself, not gonna lie. We press F on his corpse to pay respects, and move on. Stomp and curse at a slasher, loot a little bit, ignore the vomiting guy on the floor, and then go up the elevator.
Level 2 security clearance required.
Here, I perfectly take out a leaper, kill a slasher blocking the doorway, and begin to ransack an office, where we get jump-scared by the window. We run away from Mr. Beast and enter our first vacuum. Here's where I get the thought that these vacuum areas might be an issue later on due to the limited oxygen, but ignore that thought for now. We then get to the zero-G therapy area, do a cool spin into a 180 move, get the hydrazine tank from storage, and make our way back to the lobby.
Still holding this position.
On our way back to the lobby, something shakes the whole ship. Even Hammond calls us about it. I wonder what that could be.
I'll check it out.
Foreshadowing aside, I return to the security station, leave some goodies behind for later, and then move on to the research wing. Entering the main lab, we get ready for the upcoming fight, which is just a playground for kinesis considering all the pipes and sharp objects that are laying around.
Hazardous anomaly detected. Quarantine activated.
So, we impale the slashers, take the elevator down, hang up some more decorations on the wall, and finish the quarantine. After stealing everything that isn't pinned down and starting the scientific method side mission, we move on to the prosthetic center. Here, we arrive a bit too late to save this random doctor. Ah well, you win some, you lose some. Entering the room with the now dead doctor, we encounter a lurker, this game's main ranged enemy type. They can be a bit of a nuisance in some encounters, but not here. Well, except the fact that the first one took a while to attack me for some reason. We then go up an elevator, impale 2 of them, glitch some credits into the floor somehow, and move on to get the shock pad, the second item we need to blow up the barricade. So, we take it and make our way back to the security station. On our way there, we clean our boots on some slashers and finally assemble La Bomba. After detonating it from a somewhat safe distance, we can now get into the Ishimura clinic, where a slasher was patiently waiting on us. We give the guy a firm handshake with our boot and move into the ER room, sadly walking past one of many weapon upgrades we will have to ignore.
Get his rig codes, and the computer's all ours.
We loot a little bit, continue one of the secondary missions, and then trigger this area's encounter. We take on the necromorphs, doing alright until we get sandwiched by 2 slashers, where one of them gets a bit too grabby. After regaining control of the situation by applying a lot of stasis, we finish the 2 wankers off, put the battery in its place, and move into the ER hallway. Here, we impale a lurker and finish off a leaper with the help of something. I honestly don't know what I grabbed that killed him here, but I'm not one to complain.
Huh?
Anyways, we loot some more, open a door, and see a crazy lady kill a patient and then herself. That was uncalled for.
Brother,
What's that? What's that, brother?
Moving on, Isaac's mere presence causes a window to shatter in the room, resulting in a vacuum that gets fixed as quickly as it came. Ignoring that, we repair and take the elevator down into the morgue, where we first dismember everybody before entering the room with the captain's rig, since we encounter the infector in this area. Once the preparations are done, we enter the room and try to take the captain's rig, before getting interrupted by an infector. The captain gets turned into one ugly looking fella, and once we regain control of Isaac, we immediately remove his left kneecap. We then take care of the infector outside whilst the captain is slowed down, and afterwards we finish the poor bastard off. As soon as Isaac picks up the rig, Hammond decides to check up on us, somehow knowing that we got the rig. Anyways, we send him the codes, yap about the infector, and get our clearance upgraded to level 1. Entering the elevator, Hammond calls us yet again, informing us about the Ishimura's decaying orbit, and thus giving us our next task to do.
That tram station's offline. Unless... Here. Head back to the flight deck. I'll guide you from there.
To get to engineering, Hammond tells us of a shortcut we could take through the flight deck, so we make our way there. We take the tram to the flight deck, take an elevator up, step into the flight lounge, and watch Chen get backstabbed yet again. Poor guy. Entering the hangar bay, Hammond opens the hangar doors and activates zero gravity for us, where the chapter then comes to an end.
Entering zero gravity.
Chapter 3 starts off by us looting Folker's rig, which we will need for the master override key. We then move on into the elevator shaft, connecting the hangar bay to engineering. We blow some lurkers up and quickly fly down to get to the airlock, since I'm scared of the oxygen counter reaching 0. We briefly ponder at the message someone left behind, before taking the elevator down into the control room. Here, Isaac leaves some supplies behind and has a brief conversation with Hammond, during which he tells him what needs to be done, giving us our 3 main objectives.
Seeing you in the control room. Can you handle it alone?
Sure. Fix the centrifuge, get the fuel running, then do a full restart. But you'll need to stabilize our orbit from there.
Standing by. Fast as you can, Isaac.
In no particular order, we decide to step into the preparations room first, where we see the third weapon of this game, the Ripper, and walk past it. Why? Well, to me, it's an alternative to the plasma cutter. A weapon only focused on dealing damage by dismemberment, but worse, since you must get close to the necromorphs to deal that damage. And the alt fire, well, it's only good once you've gotten some upgrades into it, which, you know, I can't do. So, considering that, we won't be picking it up. We then shoot at an already dead necromorph, stomp it out of frustration, and then find the imposter that was pretending to be dead. After taking care of the imposter, we enter the autopsy location for the side mission, and get out after triggering the next step in that mission. Entering the refueling control station, a leaper that was munching on a body gets scared by my presence and leaves. Hey, that's fine by me.
Yummers.
We plunder the surrounding area, bring the gondola over to our side, and connect the northern fuel line. Here we get ambushed by 2 slashers, but they fail to consider that there are plenty of sharp pipes and exploding canisters around. Afterwards, I also bring an exploding canister with me, and use a gondola to get to the other side.
That's a surprise tool that can help us later.
Later then arrives, and I blow the first spitter to smithereens. Shoot the second one.
Double kill.
Impale the third one. Blow up the fourth.
Overkill.
And stomp on the fifth.
Kid-tacular.
Following this, a slasher runs away from me, knowing what will happen if he doesn't, and another one learns the hard way what would have happened to his friend that escaped. I grab the keycard nearby, get an unnecessary call from Kendra whilst I'm turning on the power, and connect the southern fuel line. We style on some lurkers and take the gondola back to the control room.
Okay, I've got a fuel reader. Only a quarter full, but it should be enough.
Arriving on the other side, I waste an embarrassing number of shots on a single leaper, and take my anger out on an infector in the control room. We then take the elevator down to the centrifuge, but before getting there, we must get past the decontamination chamber. So, we take some throwables into the chamber and start the decontamination sequence. Using the items, I smoothly take care of the 4 enemies inside, and proceed to go to the centrifuge, but not before taking the power node nearby, and admiring a skull on the wall. Don't ask why I'm gathering the power nodes throughout the run, I guess I did it to satisfy the loot goblin inside of me. Here, we also admire a bloody hallway, before reaching the centrifuge. I'm sure nothing bad will happen in that creepy-ass hallway on our way back.
Entering zero gravity.
Once inside, I loot a bit before getting interrupted by a leaper, and afterwards wonder where the hell my medium medkit went.
Huh?
After accepting my fate concerning the medkit, we connect the first generator module to the centrifuge, blow up a leaper, and do a cool spin before connecting the second one. We fly to a refill station to stasis up, and then activate the centrifuge, where we are now on a 70-second timer. But thankfully there are oxygen stations nearby, so it won't be a problem.
Centrifuge activated.
On our way back to the entrance, we freeze a poor slasher on the centrifuge's path, where he gets absolutely obliterated by it.
Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out!
We refill our oxygen, get rid of the obstacle in front of us, and return to the catwalk, where I'm reunited with the medium medkit I lost minutes earlier. Entering the airlock, we save the game for the first time, and get ready for the first tentacle section, the one I'm most afraid of.
Exiting vacuum.
We keep our cool, and finally take him out with a final shot in our magazine. A bit too close of an encounter, but hey, we still made it. Kendra then unlocks fuel storage for us, and we move on to the engine room.
Exiting zero gravity.
We admire the loudness of this one room in particular, before finally getting to our second weapon of this run, the trusty old flamethrower. Now, why the flamethrower? Well, it's ammo efficient, it peels Necromorph's muscle like nothing else, allowing follow-up hits from the plasma cutter to be effective, and it has a lovely alt fire that's good for crowd control. Anyways, we admire the lovely poster here, and proceed forwards, where we squeeze through a fleshy corridor, where we get yet another spook. Well, two of them actually. We take two elevators down to the ground floor, where we encounter a new enemy type, the pregnant necromorph. which we easily pin to the wall here. Reaching the engine room, we cripple 3 slashers and burn them to a crisp, then clear the rest of the enemies.
Warning. Engine power failure. Replace power cell to begin ignition sequence.
Kaboom!
We do some light preparations for the next wave, insert the battery, and ready ourselves for the ignition sequence.
Ignition sequence initiated. Please stand by.
We take out the first 3 Necros easy peasy, before getting ourselves in a bad spot against another. But we perform this totally intended dodge against him, and get out of that corner unscathed. After continuing our little murder spree we've got going on, we take out the last enemy in here, and are finally able to fire up the engines, restoring the Ishimura's orbit.
Engines ready. Please confirm. Engines firing.
On our way back to the control room, Hammond and Kendra call us, where Kendra informs us of the currently offline ADS cannons, meaning we've got yet another thing to repair. So, we then return to the tram to take it to the bridge, where we'll meet up with Hammond to fix those cannons. Chapter 3 thus comes to an end.
Station now accessible. Thank you for your patience. Now arriving at the bridge.
Isaac, I'm looking at the ADS cannons. They're a mess. I'm gonna need your help. I am not losing the Ishimura. Not now.
Kendra starts off this chapter by causing a bit of discourse between Hammond and us. But since Isaac nor Hammond really give a damn, we ignore her stupid ass. We get jump scared by a soon-to-be enemy, drop some goodies off for later, and enter the bridge, where we immediately notice why we need to fix those ADS cannons ASAP. We enter the captain's nest, where we chat it up a bit with Hammond. You know, just 2 bros chilling in a spaceship.
5 feet apart because they're not gay.
The one that attacked me. I managed to trap him in here.
Here, he has trapped Chen in an escape pod, or what's left of him. We realize it's futile to keep him in there, so Hammond then jettisons the escape pod, with Chen in it. I'm sure this won't come back to bite us in the ass.
This is Sparta!
Escape pod 47 launched.
I worked with him for years. Johnston too. At least she was spared becoming a monster.
Ignoring that bit of foreshadowing, Hammond tells us that the ADS power routing is shot, meaning we'll have to rewire power from 3 different places to them. He yaps about what Kendra said, admits he really has no clue about the marker, and warns us of something big he heard before we leave. We then encounter said big thing Hammond heard, the Brute. These guys are basically silverback gorillas turned into necromorphs.
Hazardous anomaly detected. Quarantine activated.
We barely dodge a hit from it, and then quickly take it out by kneecapping his ass. Now, these brutes are tough as hell if you've got no stasis, but since we came prepared and always have stasis when we face them, they'll be somewhat easy to take care of during this run. We activate the elevators and make our way to mining administration. We move through a vacuumed corridor, yeet a ruby semiconductor into space, and enter the records office. Here, we find a poor sod that gives us our third and final weapon of the run, the contact beam. Why the contact beam? Well, it's the weapon with the highest damage output without upgrades. I mean, look at what the Altfire can do. I think that's reason enough to use it in this run. Proceeding into mining administration, we take everything that isn't nailed down, obliterate a lurker, and reroute the power. Afterwards, we also encounter some infectors here, but they fail to infect effectively due to the beam affecting them. We then return to the elevator and take it to the 3rd floor. Now, before entering the electrical systems room, we take a brief gander inside the break room, where Issac connects the dots between the marker and the fact that Unitology uses it as her symbol. Coincidence? I think so.
Didn't take you for a believer, Isaac.
My mother was.
Moving on to the electrical systems room, we use the fried circuits here to our advantage and watch as some necros get fried to death. Getting past the circuit maze of doom, we arrive at the room where a brute attempts to end our life. But since there's a stasis refill thingy here, it trivializes the encounter. I mean, look at it. Here we stasis the cables and reroute the power yet again.
From electrical systems to ADS cannons.
We then make our way back to the bridge, barbecue some leapers, and take the elevator to the water purification systems. After the elevator door opens, we see a dead-looking crew member utter some unitologist slogan and then quickly vanish. Spooky.
Required.
We take care of the necros guarding the circuit breaker, reroute the power, and bring the ADS cannons back to life. The auto-targeting is offline, meaning Isaac will have to manually recalibrate them. Thus, Hammond opens the exterior access door, so we head there.
We're out of options. Do it.
Entering the vacuum, we quickly recalibrate all 3 cannons just by playing Meteor Tower Defense. And voila, they're back online. We then get White's rig here and return to the Ishimura.
Exiting zero gravity. Exiting vacuum.
Isaac, Hammond, I just intercepted a transmission for medical.
Once inside, Kendra calls us and informs us of a transmission from medical, where we see Nicole in it.
Medical is his sanctuary.
Are you sure about that?
All survivors, please join us.
Isaac obviously wants to head there, so we make our way there. This marks the end of the 4th chapter.
Medical.
We take it to the medical sector, where we notice a change in the atmosphere, since someone cleaned everything up and lit some lovely looking candles. Not creepy at all.
Oh shit, here we go again.
Entering the security station, we get locked inside, and a voice crackles over the intercom. We ignore it and sort out the items I left behind in the checkpoint, taking some and leaving others behind. After that, we listen to the rest of his yapping, decide not to play along with his demands, and make him unlock the door to the diagnostics wing. Entering it, we find his patients lying on gurneys, clearly in pain. Poor guys, they were probably tricked to come here, like we were. We take care of a leaper that took his sweet time to approach us, and encounter our first guardian, a stationary necromorph that shoots babies out that then shoot at you. Creepy indeed. Thankfully though, the flamethrower makes short work of them, and we then take the elevator upstairs. Ransack the office here again, and take an elevator down towards the chemical lab. Once inside, we find the source of the transmission Kendra showed us, and see that it's just a trick.
Shipwide transmission override. Isaac Clark.
Just a trick.
Isaac. Make us.
We fall for the most obvious looking trap. And then Dr. Mercer uses his stasis on us. Here we get a typical villain monologue you find in media, but to be fair, it was unsettling the first time around.
We were colleagues, you know. Dr. Chalice. Mercer. Maybe your death will tip the balance.
After he's done talking, we encounter this game's pursuer enemy type, the Hunter. He looks like a beefed up slasher, but he can also regenerate, which makes him invulnerable.
Hi, how are you?
We keep him occupied long enough for Kendra to unlock the doors, where we then make a mad dash back to the security station. Arriving there, we inform Kendra, and she then tells us that we need to lift the lockdown Mercer activated to unlock the way out. So, we then head to Mercer's office in the clinic. Once inside, we see that the battery here fell out somehow, So we put it back in whilst getting chased around by necromorphs. With the door powered yet again, we enter the ER hallway and open the storage room here with our clearance, where we find the sixth weapon of this game, the line gun. It's kind of like a larger version of the plasma cutter, with an alt fire that shoots out laser trip mines. This would have been my fourth weapon, but since my inventory is limited enough as is, and our three weapons perform good enough, we sadly decide to leave it behind. We burn yet another guardian guarding the door, get to Mercer's office, and reboot the security system, thus lifting the lockdown.
Warning. Local door protocols corrupted. Rebooting system. Please stand by.
Here, an almost dead patient of Mercer informs us that we need to save hydroponics, since there's something there poisoning the air. But we'd need liquid nitrogen first to do so. So, we head to the cryogenics lab that's near the chemical lab.
Her enzyme will work if... She just needs liquid nitrogen. Save us!
On our way there, Mercer vents some of the air from hydroponics into the entire medical deck, putting us on a time limit. Thankfully, we only need to run to the security station to activate the emergency vent controls. And before you know it, the toxic air is gone.
I'll try to lock him out.
Toxic hazard cleared.
Kendra then opens the door to cryogenics, so we head there, continuing our mission.
If the air's already that bad,
I'm gonna need a faster way to cryogenics.
I'll open the other door from the chemical lab. It'll take you straight there.
We arrive at the hallway just before the cryogenics room, loot up, and enter it, where we proceed to loot even more. And then take the liquid nitrogen that now dead guy told us we'd need. Mercer then appears behind the control room window, monologues some more about convergence and how it make humanity whole, the whole unitologist spiel really, and unleashes the hunter yet again on us, before leaving. His dumbass forgot that we can literally freeze his unkillable hunter in the room we're in. So, we cripple him, stasis him, and flash freeze him, turning him into a popsicle.
That was easy.
Initiating cryogenic freeze. Cryogenic freeze complete. Transferring specimen to storage.
His ass gets sent to some storage area somewhere, meaning he won't trouble us for a while. Kendra then informs us of the dropping air quality and sends us on our way to hydroponics, thus finishing this chapter.
Mercer, I don't think he's done yet.
But before we go to hydroponics, we take a tissue sample of the hunter, starting the side mission, Meditated Malpractice.
Careful. Who knows what mad science went into that thing?
We take the tram to medical, backtrack our way to the main lab, and analyze a tissue sample with the help of a neat machine.
Beginning DNA analysis.
We find out it's from one of Mercer's patients, one Brand Harris, and track down his rig activity.
Logs and points of interest to rig locator. Thank you for your commitment to public health.
We backtrack to the clinic, enter the ICU, and find Harris's bed in there, where we find out that Mercer injected him with something, making him understand the marker signal.
God, I can see the Marcus codes. It's been trying to show me. They're hungry. They're coming. They'll make us whole.
He said it! He said it!
For now, we've done all we can for the side missions, so we return to our main goal of restoring the air quality back to normal. We curse at a slasher on our way back, impale another, burn the last one, and leave the medical sector for good. But not before leaving even more goodies behind here.
Flight deck tram control.
Entering the tram, and arriving at the flight deck, we hear some necromorphs down in the tunnel, which we take out from afar. Think of it as target practice. Plus, that way they won't sneak up on us later. After that, we walk to the tram repair room and go through the now unlocked door to hydroponics. Kendra calls us and informs us that there's a mass in food storage, which seems to be the source of the toxic gas. We unlock the hydroponics tram station and take an elevator down, get jump scared by an irrigation system, and enter hydroponics.
This is Dr. Elizabeth.
We skip past Elizabeth Cross's warning hologram and replenish the enzyme's liquid nitrogen supply. With the enzyme now synthesized, we approach food storage, where we hear the nearby Leviathan, and take in the atmosphere of the room. The before-mentioned Cross then calls us, warning us not to enter, and tells us her plan. We listen, and with our newly acquired objective, we now must inject her ex-crewmates, the Weezers, with the enzyme to weaken the Leviathan in food storage.
And when the Leviathan is weak enough, we bent the bastard into space.
So, we make our way to the western tower of hydroponics, walk past the acid-spitting machines in flow control, and take the elevator up into the western grow chamber.
I'm a fire in my laser!
Here, we quickly gather some shit to throw before they all arrive. They then arrive, and we start our kill streak in here, showing off the power of kinesis and my weapons in this encounter. After cleanly taking the Necros out, we loot a bit, finding the Force Gun whilst we're at it, the last weapon you find in the game, and leave it next to its owner. I considered using it during the run, but then decided to pick the flamethrower over it, since you get it earlier, it's more viable as an all-around weapon, and feels cooler to use. I mean, it's a flamethrower, who doesn't like flamethrowers? Or maybe I'm a pyromaniac, who knows? Anyways, exiting the room, we step into the western seedling chamber, which is currently housing the first Weezer we must inject. We look at him, seeing the sorry state he's in, and put him out of his misery. Apparently, a nearby spitter didn't like us doing that, and tries to take us out by surprise. But we execute some John Wick-esque moves and kill him as quickly as he came. Sucker. Outside, there are even more Necros wanting to kill us. So, we run around training them for a bit as if it were caught zombies. Shoot a firewall, push a slasher into said firewall, and shoot at the now bunched up necromorphs with a satisfying alt-fire of the contact beam. That encounter right there solidified my trust in my choice of weapons. After finishing off the remaining lurker, Cross calls us, wanting to learn more about us. We exchange names, learn that we are both looking for our significant others, hang up, and take the elevator up into Cross's office. Weezer number 2 gets the enzyme, and we take the elevator down to the second floor, where we sadly must turn off the jungle ambience. The Leviathan apparently also gets sad at this, hence the roar. Ignoring that, we enter the hallway to the refrigeration tower, where we encounter the Exploder. A whole group of them actually. They are my most feared enemy in the game, since it only takes one lapse in judgment, and they'll blow up in your face. Now, I'm not sure if it's a one-hit kill, but on impossible difficulty, I'd rather not find out. We blow them all up, and head into the refrigeration tower. Here, we fly around, burning everything that gets in our way, until we reach the third Weezer, that is guarded by a Guardian. We burn him to a crisp, Weezer 3 goes to heaven, and we return to the Exploder hallway, where we blow even more of them up. We return to the elevator catwalk, and take the door on the other side, where Isaac hallucinates Nicole asking for help.
Isaac, where are you? Help me.
We ignore the obvious effect the marker is having on Isaac, inject Weezer number 4, and swiftly end everyone's life who dares enter the room. Now entering the Eastern Grow Chamber, Kendra hallucinates mid-call, seeing her dead brother Kieran on the cameras. Spooky. Ignoring her decline in sanity, we go down the elevator, where a brute was kindly waiting for us to arrive. We do a little bullfighting with him, before ending his life with the contact beam. Fitting, since it's a red-colored weapon. Following this, you probably know the shtick with the batteries by now. We put a battery where it belongs, enemies come out, and we take care of them. Bada bing, bada boom. We grab the keycard needed to turn off the gravity, enter another room where we send Weezer 5 to hell, try to perform a skip but fail at it, and turn off the gravity. We then kill a family of leapers, and then fly up, where we find Weezer number 6, and put him to sleep. We fly down one floor, and enter the hallway that leads to the air filtration room, but upon entering it, we immediately know what's going to happen next. We get ready for the second tentacle encounter, and gently open the door. The tentacle proceeds to grab us by the leg and drag us towards his hidey hole, but we prevail, no thanks due to the contact beam I have. Entering the air filtration tower, Kendra whines about seeing her dead brother and how the marker might be dangerous in the wrong hands, clearly trying to cause some discord between us and Hammond. We ignore her and go through this section as usual. We turn off the turbines, loot a bit, and move on to the air filtration annex, where we must get to the other side of this room, through fire and flames. I open the first two doors by destroying the circuit thingies and run back, since I remember slashers appearing inside the air filtration chambers. I then proceed to genuinely get jump scared by the two slashers that spawn here, since I expected them to spawn somewhere else. After killing them and taking a brief breather, we cross the fiery tube area and go up, curse at a necromorph, and Weezer number 7 gets his medicine. Moving on, we take an elevator back down to the Eastern Grow Chamber, where we hear this.
Stand clear of filtration tubes.
Isaac, please, I need you. Help me.
We promptly get the fuck out and accelerate the last Weezer's expiration date. Now that they're all at peace, we make our way back to food storage to confront the Leviathan. We leave some supplies at the central hub here, considering that we'll find some more in the upcoming fight. So, we enter food storage, hearing the Leviathan's roar, and attempt to vent him, but fail to do so since he's too strong.
Contamination detected in food storage. Cycling airlock.
Damn it! The airlock's open, but the Leviathan's too strong. It's clinging to the interior of food storage. We need more enzyme.
There's no time. I'm going in. Maybe I can cut it loose.
The Leviathan has a 10 kiloton mass. Do you really need me to tell you this is a bad idea?
Well, I'm all out of good ideas, so guess what's left?
Issac says an iconic line, and we then enter its domain. We relieve him of his items, since he won't be needing them anymore, and then start the fight. The first phase isn't that hard, since we just need to dodge his tentacle attacks, and then shoot at their weak spot. Do this 3 times, and you enter the second phase. So we do our thing, and soon enough, we hit the second stage. Here, we need to damage his glowing bit inside his mouth. Easy enough. We shoot at it some more, until he expels toxic gases in the arena, entering his final phase.
Toxic hazard detected.
Now, he does both the tentacle attacks and spits exploding bits at us, all whilst being on a 70-second timer. So, in return, we up our damage output and pull out our pocket Death Star. After firing our laser, we finally finish the Leviathan off, and vent him into space. Cross quotes the Bible, thanks us, and tells us to get back inside to talk. She then video calls us, informing us that her significant other, Jacob, was building an SOS beacon in the mining deck. But since she hasn't heard from him in a while, sends us to check up on him and the beacon.
Tell him. I'll find him. He's all I want to see.
An SOS beacon. Someone jettisoned all the others. Isaac, there's a shortcut to the mining deck. You're across his workstation. I'll get it open. Goddamn. We might actually get out of this nightmare.
Kendra was apparently listening along too, and unlocks the door to the mining deck tram station, ending Chapter 6. Starting Chapter 7, we pick and choose what supplies to bring with us, and take the elevator down into the mining deck, unlock the tram station, and get a call from Kendra, where Hammond suddenly chimes in.
Where are you?
In the vents, hoping they don't hear me. No, they didn't tell us. They're all here on the surface. One of them stabbed her friend in the head. He just stood there. He fucking smiled. They're going somewhere.
Hammond! Shit. Lost the signal again. We gotta find that beacon, Isaac. Fast.
Determine clearance level. Master
He's in the vents in crew deck, spying on some unitologists, commenting on their creepy actions, before losing his signal. Shame really, since I would have liked to gossip with Hammond about how annoying Kendra's been. Anyways, here we get the side mission for the master override code, and take the large elevator down into the mining deck.
Even though all systems are running. I'm gonna figure this out.
The elevator malfunctions, to no one's surprise really, considering the situation, resulting in a brief scuffle with some slashers. We take him out, the elevator repairs itself, and we arrive in the mining deck, where the previous occupants have trapped the entire deck. Here, a slasher triggers one of the traps, showcasing their deadliness. So, to avoid them, we simply trigger the rest of them, enter ore storage, and find a shop kiosk broken down, and covered in viscera. The security console thingy nearby reveals what happened. and it doesn't sound pretty.
To complete his work. Yeah, I don't care if God Almighty sent. You skim from CEC's profit margin, we get screwed. God? So, you can put that osmium down, or I can break your arms first. I worked with people like you on Aegis 7. They'd steal my power nodes. Leave me to dig with no light. Hey, hey! Get off me! If when they abandon you in the dark, it's not empty. The marker whispered its revelations there. Now I understand them. Do you want to hear?
Warning. Untrained personnel may not use suit kiosk.
No, no! Stop! Please! I said please when they shut me in. Screamed it too. I promise I will laugh like they did.
Warning. Suit kiosk is obstructed. Serious injury may occur.
Oh God! Help me!
After progressing the side mission, we move on to the extraction area, see a miner die right in front of our eyes, power up the elevator, and go into the mining control room. Here, we attempt to use launch tubes, but yeah, they're sealed, meaning we got to get the deck admin's rig. We remove any obstacles on our way back to the elevator and go up into the processing area.
Hey, Liz, it's Jacob. I couldn't reach you. If you find this, I'm off deck, but I'll be right back. I got a call from another survivor. He sounded terrified. I'm gonna lock up the SOS beacon and go and get him. This launch window's not for a while. Anyway, it sounds like he's working a risk. Doctor. Mercer, I think.
Arriving there, we find Jacob's hologram, find out that he locked the SOS beacon somewhere, and went to help somebody, that somebody being Dr. Mercer. Honestly, quite noble of him, if only he knew what Mercer has been up to. Anyways, we dismantle the barricade Jacob set up, and take care of the encounter in here, where we smoothly eliminate every necromorph here, even dodging some acid spit twice, until it gets the better of me. Seriously, that acid does some damage. We loot up, and upon entering processing, encounter our first armored slasher, presumably the security detail of some important members on board. Goes to show that even military-grade armor can't do much against necromorphs. These slashers can be a nuisance, but alone they pose little to no threat. Moving on, we loot, shoot, and scoot into an open flame, since I failed to notice it. Dumbass. Now that we're fired up, we enter the processing area with a large disintegration beam in it, where we must disintegrate the floating rocks around, to restore the gravity in the room, which will open the door with the rig that we need.
At least the processing beam's still running. Stand by.
So, we do the job the other miners failed to do, not letting the necromorphs interrupt us, and restore the gravity. Here, a somewhat large fight is upon us, but thanks to our arsenal, we're allowed to control the flow of battle, giving us the upper hand, thus making this encounter that has killed me in the past easy as pie. The remaining stragglers failed to stop us from entering the control room, and once inside, we take the rig that we needed. Here, we also find the final words of the rig's owner.
Final log. I've made sure they can't leave this subdeck. But neither can I.
Clearance
See
confirmed.
what they do to the bodies, what they become. And I cannot let that happen to me. At least if I don't have any limbs. And I can't kill anyone when I'm infected. Please tell Dawn and the kids that I love them.
You must admire the courage needed to do what he did, that's for sure. With the rig in hand, we make our way to the elevator and, on our way there, see the game's intensity director work flawlessly. Yeah, notice how the malfunctioning vent perfectly distracted me from noticing the slasher behind me? These genuine scares are one of the reasons as to why I love this game. We give the corpse what he deserves, and let our anger out on him. Afterwards, we return to the elevator and take it to the maintenance deck, where Hammond Zoom calls us again, showing the cultists worship the marker.
Hammond? He must be in the vents on the blue deck.
They're bringing something in.
Make it stop! Make it stop!
What? That was the marker. Did you?
No. I didn't see anything. I lost Hammond's signal again. Just get the SOS beacon. I want off this fucking ship.
The marker then affects both Isaac and Kendra, giving him a nasty headache, before promptly losing Hammond's signal again. Arriving in the maintenance deck, we light some necromorphs up, and throw random bullshit at a guardian.
Random bullshit, go!
It doesn't work, so we get our hands dirty and end his suffering. Afterwards, we loot the storage nearby, finding Dr. Kine's hideout here, which progresses one of the side missions.
Retrieved.
Record then. What difference does it make now?
Terrence, I know the marker is responsible for the outbreak. I need to understand how.
Then, entering the gondola room, we save, since I haven't done so in a bit. I then pull the gondola towards me and get on it, where we get shot at by those guardian pods. Not a big issue though. Once we're on the other side, we find the reason we even took this job to begin with, Nicole, and finally get to speak with her.
Oh my god. I can't believe you're here.
I thought I'd never see you again. I'm gonna get us home. There's an SOS beacon nearby. We can call for help.
The beacon, right. They locked it in the workshop, but my clearance can get us in this way.
But we've little time to catch up, so we head into the storage room, where Nicole must unlock the door to the workshop whilst we defend her.
I know, we'll have time, I promise. Let's get you that beacon. Everyone's counting on us. You're a surgeon with that thing.
I got your back. Okay. How do I reach you?
No, focus on launching that SOS beacon. There's maintenance ducts everywhere. I'll catch up.
You see any more, you hide, okay?
Cross my heart. I love you, Isaac. You can do this. You'll put things back the way they were. And make us whole again.
We do so, she praises our dismembering skills, and we then go our separate ways. But before she gets going, she says something a bit weird. Whatever, we have an SOS beacon to send out, so we grab it, and Kendra then calls us, where we inform her that we got the beacon. No thanks due to Nicole's help.
Isaac, I lost your rig signal, like Hammond's.
I'm good. I got the SOS beacon. Nicole helped me out.
Nicole's there.
We got separated. She'll find her way back.
She's a trooper, huh?
I'm heading back to the mining control room. I'll launch the beacon. You watch out for Nicole.
Assuming the system doesn't fizzle out again. Stay sharp.
She seems a bit startled at this information, but whatever, right? This ship will give anyone in here the heebie-jeebies. Plus, we've got an SOS beacon to send out. No time to think about it. So, we make our way to the mining control room, but on our way up, the elevator malfunctions, yet again. We take out the Necros that attempt to ambush us, and the elevator magically fixes itself, yet again. Entering the maintenance deck, we go through the extraction area, up an elevator, and make a pit stop in the nearby storage room. Here, we loot up, and look at the eyeless fella in the room. Poor guy. Some crazy unitologist probably did him in. Moving on, we attempt to use launch tubes, but they break down, so they're scrap.
What was that?
The miners must have booby-trapped the launch tubes too. They're scrap.
Well,
Kendra calls us to immediately whine about it, but Isaac, being the engineer he is, comes up with a solution. We attach the beacon to the asteroid that's just chilling there, and vent it into space.
Attach the SOS beacon to that asteroid, and then launch it away from the ship. We'd get a clean broadcast.
And you'd get yourself killed. The machinery in there is still running, Isaac.
Then it probably kept those things out too. This is our best shot, Kendra. I'm taking it.
So, we make our way there, do the whole battery shtick with enemies and all, and enter the mining bay. Here, we must disconnect the asteroid from its 4 tethers to launch it into space. First, we turn some levers into carbon, disconnect the first 2 tethers, and go through some spiky machinery to get to the other side. Here, we disconnect the remaining 2 tethers whilst under fire from lurkers, kill the lurkers, place a beacon on the asteroid, and voila, it's ready for launch.
2 is no longer tethered.
We make our way back through fire and flames, power up the elevator, and enter the mining control room for the last time. We clean up the room a little first, gather our throwable objects, and finally launch the asteroid into space, successfully getting an SOS beacon out there.
It's working. The beacon's online, broadcasting wideband. I'll align the receiver. This'll take a minute. Head on back to the tram station.
So, we head on back to the tram station, but not before triggering a quarantine, trapping us in here, when suddenly the hunter ambushes us, along with some friend of his. We use everything available to us to prevail, whilst Kendra unlocks a manual release for the door.
Quarantine shit with that hunter there, the system can't lift the lockdown.
Override the manual door release!
I'll try. Damn it, the explosion fried half the circuit. Almost there, hold it off. I got it. Hit the manual release.
Manual release is ready. Manual release is ready.
Damn it! Try the door now!
She does so, we unlock the door, and get out of there ASAP.
Out of my way, son! Door stuck! Door stuck!
We barbecue a slasher that's body blocking the door, take the elevator down, run past the hallway full of slashers, and take the elevator up to safety. Kendra calls us yet again and informs us of the broken comms array, meaning the beacon won't be of much use until we fix it. So, with our newly gained objective, we return to the tram station, finishing the longest chapter in the game thus far. In Chapter 8, we don't dilly-dally around and immediately take the tram to the bridge. Arriving there, Kendra informs us that the USM Valor, a military ship, picked up our SOS.
That fast? What's a military ship doing way out here?
Out on patrol? Whatever, right now I take a rescue from a fucking magpie. Head for communications. Once we fix the comms array, we can get all the answers we need.
That was a bit too quick though, and Isaac questions this as well, but Kendra deflects it, and honestly that's fair enough. Anyone in this situation would want to be rescued ASAP. So, we enter the bridge once again, and on our way to the elevator, trigger a quarantine, and out come the necromorphs from all the vents. The first wave of exploders is easy enough with the cutter. Not even a slasher can break our control in the situation. But once the tougher leapers are introduced, we got to do something else fast. So, we use the geometry of this area to our advantage. We take the nearby ramp up to the desk with computers and trap ourselves here with a firewall. And once all the Necros are all bunched up, we use the contact beam to blow the last exploder up, taking everyone else out with them. Nice and efficient. After all that fighting, we take the elevator down into the comms array floor, and see that the dead tissue has been hard at work since it now has spread to this area, creating 2 Guardians in the process. The flamethrower makes short work of them, allowing us access to the comms hall and the adjacent comms control room. Here, we see that the comms array is fried, but thankfully it was sloppy work, so we must simply create a new circuit with the remaining arrays.
The Valor's in a holding position. How's the comms array?
Fried? Someone hot-wired the dishes together and blew out the system.
We door camp the hell out of the enemies in this encounter, and then get to solving this neat little puzzle. Inserting the final antenna, we realign the comms array and are ready for transmission. Establishing communications with the USM Valor, we receive their repeating message, telling us that they're in hold position until we can respond, and, more importantly, that they picked up our escape pod number 47.
In response to your SOS, we picked up your escape pod number 47 and are en route to your position. This message will repeat every 30 seconds until you respond.
Yeah, remember that pod Hammond launched? The one with Chen in it? The necromorph Chen? These are the consequences of his actions. Sure, we don't 100% know that they're screwed, but looking at the remaining length of the video, I think you and me both know what's going on in the Valor right now. So, Isaac must do his job of fixing shit yet again. We take the long-ass gondola over to comms maintenance and encounter our first divider here. These guys are by far the tankiest necromorphs we've encountered so far, but with a bit of stasis, plasma and fire, he goes down like any other necro. I panic for a bit, thinking this ragdolling piece of him is still alive, but once I realize it is dead, think that I'm just stupid.
Bruh.
We then backtrack like 5 steps for some cutter ammo, and get clipped by the door, further solidifying the stupidity of the past 30 seconds. We then take care of the surprise inside the elevator, take it down, and enter the comms maintenance room, where we find out what was obstructing the blast doors.
Error. Blast doors obstructed. Please contact a repair technician.
Still can't reach the Valor. What's happening with the antenna?
It's blocked by... It's the Leviathan. It must have snagged on the comms array after we spaced it. It's not coming off without a fight.
It's the Leviathan from Chapter 6. Guess he isn't dead after all. But with the help of the conveniently placed ADS cannons here, we get our chance to finish him off for good. We save the game, hype ourselves up, and enter its domain.
Entering vacuum. Entering zero gravity.
Here, it's a classic rule of 3 boss fight. Take out his 3 weak points with the ADS cannons and voila, your winner. So, we get to work, easily dispatching his first and then second weak point.
Manual targeting enabled.
The third one is a bit tricky to navigate to, due to him spitting out some exploding mines that obstruct our path. But with some finesse, we get to the third ADS cannon, break his outer shell, and finish him off with our trusty contact beam.
ADS cannon destroyed.
3.
Is it dead?
Dead and gone. I'll try the antenna's manual release again.
Do it. I've got a transmission loaded and ready to go.
With the Leviathan now finally dead and gone, we enter the comms maintenance room again, deploy the long-range antenna, and finally reach the Valor.
Yes! Finally! USM Valor, this is Kendra Daniels on the USG Ishimura. Do not open the escape pod. Repeat, do not open that escape pod. Do you read?
Kendra sends out a warning to not open the escape pod, albeit a useless one, since Chen is apparently well on his way to get a nuke kill streak on the Valor. With the Valor out of control, it steers right into us and crashes on the USG Ishimura. Seriously, we're out in space, surrounded by nothing, and it manages to crash right into us? Unlucky.
Daniels, what happened? Something shook the whole crew deck. What hit it? An asteroid?
Those things got onto the Valor. A rescue ship. They found your escape pod. And the one that used to be Chen, it...
God damn it! Keep us stable. Isaac, I'll grab a suit and EVA onto the Valor. Meet me there. We'll find that core together. Let CEC clean up their own mess. I'm saving what I can.
Oh well. The crash at least restored our connection to Hammond, where we inform him of what happened. Kendra loses all hope, but Hammond reignites it, informing us of an executive shuttle on the crew deck, albeit without a singularity core. But Isaac gets the idea to salvage the Valor's core to get the hell out of here. So, Hammond and Isaac EVA onto the Valor to find the singularity core together. We exit the airlock, board the USM Valor, and end Chapter 8. Upon entering the Valor, Chapter 9 kicks off. We see the sorry state the ship is in, and go through the only path that isn't blocked, the barracks.
Isaac, we have a problem. The Valor's carrying a 12 megaton warhead. The crash hit the torpedo bay hard. I need you to handle that nuke right away, before something sets it off.
Handle 12 megatons? You know I'm not a nuclear engineer, right?
I don't need...
Hammond calls us here to inform us that there's a nuke on board, telling us to handle it. Isaac is a bit bewildered at his request, understandably so, but sometimes you just gotta accept the task ahead of you. Past the barracks is a long-ass hallway, where we encounter the Twitcher, a soldier now turned slasher. The catch is, since they have stasis equipment on their suits, they, in Hammond's own words, are fucking fast. Thankfully, we can trigger the stasis unit on their suit with a well-placed shot, or in this case, fire! Yet another W for the flamethrower, since it makes dealing with them that much easier.
Merge right into their body. Change them. They're fucking fast, Isaac. Stay sharp.
To proceed, we got to do the whole battery shtick again. Not even the military's safe from doing it. So, we go and steal a battery from the briefing room, but not before finding one sleek-looking corpse in here.
Fire at will!
His aura almost enough to rival Larry's. If you know, you know. Anyways, we take the battery, kill some fools that picked the wrong house, insert it, and go down the elevator.
You picked the wrong house, fool!
On our way down, one Dr. Kine calls us, and immediately picks the wrong dialogue option, which makes Issac hang up the call.
Mr. Clark? Hello? I must speak with you.
Who is this?
Dr. Terrence Kine, the Ishimura's chief science officer. I studied the marker for the church.
I'm done talking to unitologists.
But the planet won't rest until the marker is returned. You can't leave.
Watch me.
Caution. Radiation hazard.
Here, we enter the torpedo bay. Fun fact, my first Impossible run ended here due to me disregarding the nuke warning and using firearms inside. But this time, we play it safe, or as safe as someone can play around a nuke. We impale the exploders here, do the battery thing, disengage the safety clamps, and release the warhead. I'm not sure if having a nuke float around in space is a good call, but you gotta do what you gotta do, am I right? Hammond then calls us. Isac's like, why is a nuke here? Bit strange, innit? Hammond's like, yeah, I know. And then clears us a route to the engine room.
What's out here except us?
Yeah, I know. I'm downloading a munitions report right now. I'll clear your route to the engine room. Grab that singularity core and let's get out of here.
Moving on, we go through the armory, where we take a bit of time to take out a divider and then 2 twitchers.
Why won't you die?
Entering the infirmary, we see that the machinery here has gone haywire, where a twitcher then shows us what'll happen to us if we step into the lasers. After that lovely showcase, we simply stasis it and move past it. Hammond then starts tripping, mid-call, telling us that Chen's signal is on his rig link. Issac tries to talk him out, but Hammond's a bit too delusional by now, so it's of no use.
Chen, come in.
Ignoring Hammond's questionable state of mind, we move on to the cargo bay, where Chen started his kill streak. We see the aftermath of everything, and I think to myself, how a single necromorph took out an entire ship full of trained professionals. Plot convenience aside, we continue, setting off the lockdown in here. This encounter throws a lot of necros at you in a confined area with those electric death traps. But with our arsenal and liberal use of stasis, we prevail, until a brute shows up. The strategy against this guy is easy. Kill everyone until he's the last one standing, use stasis on him a lot, preferably when he's on top of the circuits, and contact beam his ass. The strat works wonders, to no one's surprise, and the lockdown then ends. We loot up, and on our way to the engine room, Hammond calls us, realizing that the government knew about the whole situation, getting real depressed over it.
They knew about the Ishimura. Someone knew. We were all dead from the moment we arrived.
Ah well, GG go next. To get to the engine room, we must do the battery shtick once more, but this time in a room that's on fire. We do so, burn some leapers, go up the elevator, and voila! The Singularity Core is almost in our hands. Hammond's already there, but once we get close to him, yet another lockdown starts, where this then happens.
Another malfunction. Half the Ishimura's in the red. Someone get the door open. Chen? What did that thing do to you? Help me get him to the Kellys.
Shoot him. It's not shit. Shoot him!
What?
Shoot him!
Chen?
The world. My pride, you mad bitch.
Quarantine lockdown disengaged.
What a way to go, man. But no time to mourn. We grab the Singularity Core, and the Valor starts going haywire.
Singularity core removed. Rerouting power.
What? Hammond's vitals, they just flatlined.
Hammond's gone. Hammond shit.
Oh my god.
Cascade failure in all primary systems.
Fuck! The Valor's gonna blow! Go!
We inform Kendra of what happened, and promptly start getting the hell out of there.
Systems failure. Evacuate immediately. Warning. Primary systems failure. Evacuate immediately.
Our main path back is blocked, so we run through the mess hall, getting a bit too close for comfort with some twitchers, but keep on running. We even see one of the soldiers escape, probably only to die later in the Ishimura, but who knows.
Warning. Critical overload in main electrical grid.
We get to the airlock just in time, where Issac is pushed outside into space by the explosion, thrown against debris, but he still locks in and saves himself by grabbing onto the retracting antenna. This man's got some strong arms, that's for sure. Arriving back onto the Ishimura, Kendra calls us, sounding genuinely worried for us. We tell her we have the Singularity Core, and she informs us that we must go to the shuttle that's in the crew deck, which is somehow now unlocked. By whom? Who knows? But it doesn't matter, since Chapter 9 is now over, and we got a 10th one to finish.
It'll get you to the crew deck, but who's left with that kind of clearance? Isaac, something's up, but we have to get that shuttle. For God's sake, be careful. We're all that's left.
Chapter 10 is a bit on the longer side, considering we'll backtrack to get the Master Override Key and to get the prototype Stasis Module. The Stasis Module is a no-brainer and doesn't break the rules of this challenge. But why the Override Key? To be honest, just cause. We take the tram to the bridge, find Nicole's report, and find out Dr. Mercer has been taking Harris to hydroponics. So we make our way there.
Hydroponics. Now arriving at hydroponics.
Entering hydroponics, we burn the bouncers guarding the entrance, take the elevator up, and enter the Western Control Tower. We go even higher up, turn the therapeutic ambience back on, and enter Mercer's secret lab.
Therapeutic ambience on.
Here, we get our final upgrade to our arsenal, in form of a modified stasis module. It electrifies our stasis, so to speak, meaning it will peel the enemy's muscles. Neat. We even get a necromorph to try it on, and as you can see, it works wonders. We get out of there, but not without a brief scuffle, and make our way back to the tram station, where we then take the tram to the engineering deck.
Mining engineering.
There, we quickly head towards the engine room, where we'll find the penultimate rig needed. We grab it, kill a slasher, and listen to the audio log there whilst we're at it.
Engineering log. Chief engineer aerial restart reporting. Huge maintenance is... What was I saying? I haven't slept right since we brought that marker on board. Could that help me sleep? If I can get close enough. Yeah. Go right inside, maybe, where it's warm and dark? Ooh, yeah. That makes sense.
Listening to it, we learn that the marker basically told Rousseau to game end herself. Coolio, man. Ignoring even more evidence of the marker's wrongdoings, we then return to the tram station and take it to the bridge. But on our way there, I get genuinely jump scared yet again. Seriously, I was just admiring Issac's suit when all of a sudden, boom, the tram stops due to some necro using the air docks nearby. Screw him, man. After that scare, we arrive at the bridge tram station, where we first go down into the tram tunnels to grab the final rig needed. We do so, and return to the bridge, go down into the captain's nest, press some buttons, and boom, the master override is in our hands. Now, do I do anything run-altering with it? Nope. Do I feel a sense of completion? Yep, and that's enough for me. We return to the hallway connecting the bridge to the crew deck, where some hooligans were vaping it up, heavily reducing our vision in here. We punish the scoundrel for doing so, and proceed to the crew deck. On our way there, my bad aim against the spitter here causes me to take damage, so I sadly waste a full heal on 50 HP. But thanks to what I can only call divine intervention, we find a large medpack immediately in the first locker we loot. Altman be praised. We open the crew deck tram station and get a call from Kendra afterwards, but nothing of note is said during it. We enter the crew deck and holy, Something definitely went wrong here. We briefly take it all in, before then returning to our loot goblin routine, and afterwards enter the gym. Here in the gym locker rooms, we take a sad look at the level 5 suit blueprint that I can't use, get spooked in the showers, and then make our way to the Z-Ball court, where we do the battery shtick once again. But before getting the crew deck keycard, I realized that Issac could use a break from all of this. So we enter the court once again and start balling. We reach a score of 235, but Isaac's had enough, so we leave, taking the basketball with us for nefarious purposes. We get our rewards, go and get the keycard, and make our way back to the crew deck entrance. Here, we send some infectors and their created slashers to hell via flamethrower, and afterwards, kill a slasher with a basketball. With that checked out of my bucket list, we play Pinata with a hanging corpse, realize that's not a normal thing to do, and take the elevator up to loot some more. After looting up, we then take the elevator down, entering the central nexus, where this cutscene awaits us.
I edged your stash. I didn't goon. You're not gonna edge anyone else.
Well, Mr. Temple, I'd say your looks-maxing streak is about to be broken.
Rizzler!
Still edging, Mr. Clark? I'm still denied Get Virgins thanks to this beta.
Rizzler, wait. Tell me. I want to understand. What is Get Virgins?
But you already know. Livy Dunn or Baby Gronk, we all feel the Drip King's W Riz. Don't you want to be reunited with the level 10 Gyats you fumbled? Yes? Then why not edge with me? Mr. Temple has refused, but we are so back. Everything that has happened in Ohio is only the beginning.
When you put it that way, you and your Drip King can get phantom taxed.
L. think your edge streak would break faster.
I, don't recall it happening like that. Must be the marker's influence on us. But no time to think. The hunter's on our ass again. We kneecap him, destroy a tendril weak point, and escape into the mess hall. Walking through this fleshy corridor, the marker starts messing with us, hence the whispering and all that.
But you're on it, right, Isaac? Everything's gonna be just like it was.
But we don't let it get to us, and take the elevator down. Here, some dividers try to divide us, but by being liberal with our stasis and weapons, we take them out, not letting them divide us. Entering the standard quarters, a leaper fittingly gets a jump on me from across the hallway, taking away half my health bar in the process. I mean, we get him as well as the medium medpack he dropped, so nothing was lost really, but we still go all out on his dead ass. After Issac says one of my favorite lines, we then enter the poor man's quarters. Here, a hologram of Mercer is spreading misinformation about me, but we simply ignore him, and remove the barricade blocking a door we must go through. Once inside, we realize why it's blocked off. The quarters are filled with toxic gas, but it doesn't matter since there are oxygen stations nearby. So, we burn some guardians guarding the tendril, loot up, grab the battery required here ahead of time, and then destroy the tendril. Upon doing so, the hunter ambushes us, but Stasis takes care of him. Sadly, he nicks us on our way out, and since I'm that pity about my health, we quickly go and refill our health in the storage room nearby. Exiting it, we delimp him once again, and finally get out of there, where 3 Necros were expecting us. We make sure they meet God, do the battery thingy, and take the elevator back to the mess hall area, where this then happens. I'll, chalk this up to the marker's meddling. Afterwards, we rightfully stomp his ass into oblivion, I think it's well deserved, and make our way back to the central nexus. On a more serious note, has anyone ever had this happen to them or seen a necromorph spawn in front of them? It's just weird, man. Anyways, arriving in the central nexus, we go up an now unlocked elevator and enter the deluxe quarters living room.
What's happening? Find the shuttle. You need to install the singularity core. Isaac! Isaac, can you hear me?
Here, we trigger a quarantine, and out come the necromorphs as if it's a new round in COD Zombies. We add them to our ever-expanding list of killed enemies, and enter the deluxe quarters proper. We plunder the area, find a piñata in the bathroom, and then enter the guest consultant's room, where the marker presumably triggers a bad memory regarding Isaac and Nicole's relationship.
Leave me alone!
For brevity's sake, I'll tell y'all what happened. Isaac's mother, a unitologist, took counseling to get better from Nicole, but she still went cuckoo and killed Isaac's father and then herself. So Isaac lashes out on Nicole, accusing her that she quasi-killed her parents, and Nicole understandably tells Isaac to go to hell.
She was better. You told me to leave for the Ishimura. You pushed me to... You know what? Go to hell, Isaac.
Nicole. Nicole! Nicole! I didn't...
Isaac immediately regrets this, but too late, man. She hung up. This sadly was the last conversation they had together, which explains why Isaac wants to get Nicole safely out of this mess and make amends with her.
Sorry.
I can make it right.
I'm sorry
I can save us both.
about everything.
We then enter the bedroom in here, finding a hologram, where Nicole is looking through Mercer's notes on the marker, comparing them with her own notes.
Is it recording? Can't miss anything.
But Mercer catches her in the act, forcefully taking her notes, but she sleekly talks her way out, stealing Mercer's notes without him noticing.
He didn't understand how this tragedy represents a chance to cure death. No, we've never seen eye to eye, but I understand now. There's so many I should have saved.
So you came to me. You are a woman of science, not faith. Leave the marker to me. Very thorough indeed. And useful for Mr. Harris's next surgery.
Sadly, this doesn't stop Mercer from getting the information he needed, and, with the help of Nicole's research, presumably created whatever he injected Harris with to turn him into the monster he is now. This ends the final side mission of the game. After doing all we can here, we destroy the tendril, enter a room with a suicidal lady whilst the hunter is trying to kill us, and do a lot of violent acts before finally inserting the battery. We return to the living room, turn it into the dying room, and get the hell out of there, not even bothering to check the rooms I unlocked with the battery. I got Alzheimer, I guess. We then enter the executives' quarters for the penultimate tendril. We clean up the room a little, steal their stuff, and destroy the tendril here. Exiting the bathroom, yet another quarantine is triggered, where a lot of armored slashers and an infector try to game end us. Emphasis on try, since the contact beam proves its worth yet again. We steal more stuff, and then return to the central nexus, where the final tendril is now accessible. Here, in the Chief Steward's office, we find Dr. Kyne talking to literally nothing. What a nutcase. You know, until he notices us.
Hi, I'm Dr. Terrence Kyne. Remember we spoke on the Valley? If you're real, let me in. I need to destroy that cluster behind you. Not yet. Escape on that shuttle and you'll kill us all.
He informs us that when the Ishimura took the marker from the planet, it awoke a certain, being. Issac sees the footage with the hive mind and decides to listen to Kyne's proposition. That being that we must return the marker to its place to return the beast to its slumber.
If we leave while the hive mind is active, well, you saw the Valor. If even a single necromorph escapes, humanity is finished. If it'll end this for good, deal. Excellent. I can distract Mercer, but not for long. Get the marker to the shuttle bay quickly.
Isaac's also convinced of this and agrees to fulfill his plan. Kyne then goes on his merry way to somewhere and unlocks a door for us, allowing for the destruction of the final tendril. We do so, ransack the office, and return to the central nexus, where we can now move the marker to the shuttle bay and store it inside the ship. But not before facing off what can only be described as an army of necromorphs. Here, we camp in this corner like it's that catwalk on Deris. If you know, you know. Our arsenal works wonders here, and before you know it, everything is dead. So, we push the button for the loader controls and head inside the shuttle bay area. Knowing what's to come, we move some supplies inside the arena, loot the whole place, put some throwables in convenient places, and finally, install the Singularity Core.
Singularity Core replaced. Test fire shuttle engines to complete hardware installation.
We then do what the automated voice asks us to do, and go and test fire the engines. Suddenly, after pressing the button, the Hunter appears once again, accompanied by an onslaught of necromorphs. With a lot of ammo, some great crowd control, and my training skills from playing zombies, we take care of most of the necromorphs until the hunter is conveniently behind the engines of the shuttle. We kneecap his ass, put some stasis on him, and activate the engine's test fire, reducing Harris to nothing but a carbon stain on the floor. We then exit the room, when suddenly a tentacle grabs us, and out of nowhere, Mercer pops up, grieving the death of his creation.
Bring convergence! Make us whole!
He yells at the marker like the lunatic he is, hits an emote, and dies due to him being in front of the marker the tentacle grabs. What a shitty way to go, man. Issac's surprising grip strength allows him to witness all of this, before the tentacle finally overpowers him and grabs him to God knows where, slamming him into the walls multiple times whilst he's at it. After taking one hell of a beating, we finally get a chance to retaliate, and kill it before he can take us to his hidey hole.
How many times do we have to teach you this lesson, old man?
Do you read me? Mr. Clark! Mr. Clark, come
Kine then calls us. Issac says the funny, and we tell Kendra of our plan to return the marker planetside.
We've got to try. I'm heading to cargo. You ping Nicole's rig and tell her where to go.
She's visibly annoyed for some reason, but goes along with it for now. Chapter 10 thus comes to an end. We don't dilly-dally in Chapter 11, and get straight to our objective of getting the marker loaded into the escape shuttle. We backtrack to the medical sector for some goodies, whilst Kendra informs us of a large biomass that stole the marker and took it to the cargo bay.
It's recombined itself into... Well, it's something huge, and the marker's embedded right in the middle. How the hell do we do this? We're losing critical systems fast.
We basically tell her not to worry about it, gear up, and take the tram to the flight deck.
Flight deck tram control.
Arriving there, we see a slasher down in the tram tunnels, quickly ignore him in the name of loot, and return just in time to see his dumbass kill himself. Gotta love it. Entering the tram station hallway, we get jumped by some enemies, but it's nothing we can't handle. We then enter the cargo bay, go down the elevator, find Peng, and prepare for the upcoming fight by looting up and leaving throwables everywhere we can.
I'm here. If you want me to build your shit, I'll need it. But you won't need modifications, will you?
We push some buttons and engage the cargo crane, pulling a marker up from storage, when suddenly all hell breaks loose. We first successfully hold out in this corner for a bit, exhausting all the supplies here, and then move to the middle of the room to raise a bridge obstructing the loading mechanism.
Access bridge is obstructing transfer.
Even more necromorphs enter the arena and try to sandwich us in the middle of the room, but with the help of the flamethrower's firewall, we're able to dictate the flow of combat here, and effectively nullify their final push. The marker is thus safely transported to the hangar bay, so we go there next. On our way there, Kyne picks up Kendra with the shuttle, so we won't worry about her well-being.
Yes, we'll be there.
I'm just gonna run for it. Wish me luck.
We take care of a sleeping necromorph and take the elevator up to the flight lounge. We enter the flight lounge, but on our way to the hangar, trigger a quarantine, where we're assaulted by not only necromorphs, but the marker's hallucinations as well. We prevail and enter the hangar bay, but Issac's work isn't done yet, since he must manually load the marker into the shuttle now. This dude seriously can't catch a break. It's one task after another. Oh well, time to go to work in the shit factory again. We turn off the gravity, power up the cargo rail tracks, rotate them in advance, prepare some exploding canisters, and activate the loader controls. We blow some ruffians to smithereens, and use a contact beam on the remaining stragglers. Successfully aligning the marker below the ship, we fly up to turn the gravity back on, and make our way to the runway in the hangar bay, where Kyne's ready to pick us up, when suddenly, this happens.
Sorry, Isaac. I couldn't trust him with the marker.
Kendra, what are you doing?
What my department sent me here to do. Even if the Valor couldn't help me out like I wanted.
Department? Who are you?
I work for EarthGov, cleaning up a very, very old mess.
So EarthGov sends you to sweep it all under the rug. Damn it, we have to return the marker. If anyone else stumbles across Aegis 7...
It was disappeared once. We can do it again. I've seen how the marker fucks with your head. It must be contained. For what it's worth, we made a great team. You'll find another way off the Ishimura. I mean, you're one hell of an engineer.
Your experiment's gonna kill us all! Daniels! It was all for nothing.
What a lore dump, man. But before losing all hope, Nicole calls us from the flight control tower, informing us of a way out. So, we head up there. Not that we have much of a choice, really.
You have to come up here now. There's still a way out for us, but we don't have much time.
Arriving there, we get to see Nicole hitting the T-pose. Must be the marker's influence. Anyways, she comes back to life, and after a long time since our last encounter with her, finally make amends with her.
There you are.
Thank God you're here. The ship's coming apart. I saw what you've been through. Your investigation, Mercer. What happened with us?
We don't have to talk about it.
I need you to know I'm sorry about everything.
It's okay, Isaac. You know I forgive you. I love you.
Well, good, but...
There's still hope. You can recall the shuttle and remote pilot it from here. Bring back the marker and we can return it to Aegis 7. You can make us whole again.
I just want to make things right.
Then let's do it together.
Nicole tells us to recall the shuttle from here, so after some yapping, we do so.
Recalling shuttle USG-09. Prepping remote docking procedures.
Damn it, Isaac! You don't know what you're doing!
I know. I'm finally doing the smart thing.
You fucking kidding me? Shit!
Warning. Escape pod
Kendra gets really mad at us and uses the escape pod from the shuttle to escape her fate.
Escape pod. Damn! We lost her.
It doesn't matter. She can't escape her fate. But who can?
Nicole says otherwise, and we see the shuttle return to the hangar. Finally, a way out of here.
Isaac?
I know. Ishimura's finished.
We make our way to the shuttle, not giving a damn about the Lepros that try to block our escape, and board it, with Nicole following soon after. We say our goodbyes to the Ishimura and fly towards the planet. After some small talk in between headaches, we arrive there, thus finishing Chapter 11. This is it, the final stretch. Chapter 12 is upon us. We take it all in first, before quickly returning to our loot goblin routine. We press some buttons to move the marker, loot a bit, leave some items behind for later, and enter the nearby building in search of a battery. By the looks of it, the workers here had it just as bad as us up there. The audio log nearby confirms this as well.
This is Sergeant Bram Newman. Issac evacuation report.
The shuttle's gone. Took off and then crashed right back down into the bay. Took a whole crowd with it. Anyone hearing me, do not land. I repeat, do not land on Egypt 7. Fuck the Ishimura. Let them die.
We clear out the infectors here. Nicole title drops the name of the game, and after inserting the battery in its place, saves the game, because why not? We then open the shutter doors and accompany the marker on its way to the pedestal. Entering the supply depot, you already know what we trigger. In this encounter, I use the tight bridges to my advantage by placing firewalls on them. We have some close encounters here for sure, but with a lot of stasis and the help of our arsenal, we prevail with only 25 HP missing. That's a win in my book. Isaac and Nicole chat it up a little, we plunder everything in sight whilst they do so, and then save our game before entering the next area, the transfer junction. In here, the flamethrower takes care of the guardians blocking the door, allowing us access to the tether control room.
Warning, main power interrupted. Tether generators are offline.
We take an elevator down, where we then power up the generators, with the help of 3 conveniently placed batteries here.
Power restored to east generator. Power restored to tether generators. Ready for restart. Restarting tether. Now entering zero gravity.
After activating the tether, the power is flowing again, but since we unplugged the elevator's battery to do so, we must now fly through the vents here with the help of stasis. We cleanly do so, enter the airlock and return to the transfer junction, where a welcoming committee made up of a brute, exploders and other necromorphs are here to greet us. Fun fact, my last Impossible playthrough ended here, but not today, no sir. At first, I only concentrate on crowd control, using a lot of stasis and flamer fuel, but once I feel that no more necromorphs are spawning, I take out the first wave with the contact beam. We then take out the rest from afar, and once I'm sure that all exploders are dead, I concentrate on the big guy, and successfully beat this encounter this time around. We get our revenge on the brute's corpse for ending my last run. And lift the bridge, so that the marker can keep on moving. Entering the storage chamber, we must destroy some tendrils that are in the way of the marker. So, we destroy the first one, unload on a slasher, barbecue and de-limp 2 more, destroy the second tendril, obliterate a divider, and hooray! The path is now clear. We beep on the terminal, let the marker move, boop on another terminal, and voila! We've arrived at the excavation site, the final normal enemy encounter of the game. Here we destroy a tentacle, and then a tendril that's blocking the way. Afterwards, every remaining necromorph comes out of the vents to stop me, but with a lot of firewalls in combination with her contact beam, they don't get far.
Please, Isaac, the hive mind is coming. You have to make us whole.
Destroying the final tendril, we take care of even more necromorphs. Loot their corpses, destroy another tentacle a bit too keen on attacking us, and then spend an embarrassing amount of time trying to kinesis pull an item towards me. I give up and shamefully walk over to the item. Ignoring that blunder, we raise a bridge so that the marker may move towards the pedestal, when suddenly a tentacle attacks me from behind, doing massive damage. But we kill it, heal up, and move towards the pedestal whilst using firewalls for crowd control.
Reunited with the pedestal.
We successfully hold the line and activate the loader controls, finally putting the marker back where it belongs. In response, it lets out a pulse, imprinting the marker's information in Isaac's mind. I'm sure this won't have any lasting effects on Isaac, nor humankind.
Thank you, Isaac. I always believed in you.
Anyways, Nicole thanks us, but no time for pleasantries. The gravity tethers are now offline due to the pulse from the marker, so we restart them from inside the control room.
I'll restart the tether. Buys time.
No.
Suddenly, Kendra shows up, holding Nicole hostage. She must have landed on the planet and knew what our plan was. She calls us delusional, ignoring our demands to let her go, and then DMs us the video call from the beginning of the game and implores us to watch it to the end.
This time, watch to the end.
Isaac, it's me. I wish I could talk to you. I'm sorry. I'm sorry about everything. I can't return what was taken. Why can't I see you again, Isaac? I loved you. I always loved you.
Nicole is dead, or always has been. Kendra perfectly explains what happened. The marker manipulated us both for its benefit. Isaac's whole experience throughout the game is him being in denial of the truth, trying to repress that video call from Nicole, convincing himself that she's still alive.
No. No, she can't be. What the hell did you do?
You did this to yourself. Nicole's been dead this whole time. You just couldn't handle it, could you? Because if she's gone, at least now it'll be in safe hands. The marker won't turn anyone else into its puppet. Give me the loader remote.
No. It's over. We're whole again.
For Christ's sake, I'm not going to ask again, Cross.
No! Enough people have died! Then just do it. I've got nothing left to lose. Cross!
Kendra then kills Cross, since she sees no point in living, nor complying with her demands, and uses the loader remote to move the marker back onto the shuttle. The shutters then close. In one last chance to escape, we go through an access tunnel to reach the shuttle before Kendra, hearing high-pitched roars in the distance. We grab everything of use in the corridor, as well as in the storage room we arrive in. We then go through the now unlocked door, which leads us back to the building we first entered, save our game, and make our way to the shuttle. With debris falling from the sky, we run towards Kendra, who's next to the ramp leading to the shuttle, warning us to stay away. More debris then falls, which knocks us down, giving her a chance to get to the shuttle first. Now, she could have gotten inside safe and sound, but out of nowhere, a wild hive mind appears, whipping out its tentacle, which then proceeds to yeet her over to us. Ouch! Barely alive, she crawls towards us, trying to take our hand, but to no avail. The hive mind finishes her off, before trapping us in this space with its tendrils. With everyone Isaac knew now dead, he gets up realizing he's kind of fucked. So, with nothing left except himself, there's two things he can do now: give it his all, or die trying. With the Leviathan now dead, we gather our bearings, taking one last look at the giant pit he came from, before running onto the shuttle, trying to get us into orbit as fast as possible, since, you know, there's still a 10 kiloton hunk of rock that's falling towards the planet as we speak. Look, you can even see it there. Once we're in orbit, Isaac takes his helmet off, listens to Nicole's last words one more time, and ends the video.
Isaac, it's me. Oh, I wish I could talk to you. I'm sorry.
This man has been through hell and back, but he came out alive, although maybe not quite the same as before. This marks the end of Chapter 12. So, can you beat the Dead Space remake without capitalism? Why yes, yes you can. Some might even consider this type of playthrough more fun, although your playthrough will be severely limited in terms of inventory space and viable weapons you can use. I'm not sure if I would have fared as well if I picked a different loadout, but I'm not too keen on figuring that out if I'm honest. Although, I do have a New Game Plus save file now that's got no upgrades nor blueprints gathered, so that'll be fun to play through whenever I'm in a Dead Space mood again. Speaking of New Game Plus, let's count all the credits and notes I for some reason collected. Let's see, 197,900 credits and 49 notes. Plus the New Game Plus bonus, that'll be a total of around 250,000 credits and 60 notes. Wow. Keep in mind, I did not loot every room, nor did I pick up any of the sellable circuits, so I'm guessing each playthrough of Dead Space gives you around 350,000 credits, as well as 70-ish notes, plus all the notes you can buy, so the game honestly gives you a lot to work with, and definitely gets easier once you have some upgrades. Difficulty-wise, well, I don't know how to rank difficulty honestly, since it's so subjective, but I will say this. Even with this being my 4th playthrough of Dead Space, knowing the general gist of things, I still had to be on my A game all the time, since I couldn't afford to be hit more than 3 times, and I did have some butt-clenching moments. Although I could have been more liberal with my ammo usage, I was quite stingy, which led to some unnecessary damage sometimes. Ah, fuck it. 7 out of 10. What an IGN-ass score. So yeah, that concludes things. If you for some reason watched to the end, I don't know what to say other than thank you. I hope this video of mine entertained you as much as it entertained me whilst making it. If you want to support this channel, a like or even a subscription will be greatly appreciated. And if you disliked it, dislike it and leave a comment down below as to why. I'm Private Cheesecake, and this was my capitalism-less Dead Space playthrough.